All right. First of all, man, thanks a lot for coming on here. I really appreciate it. I know I can't wait to get into it because I was just reading through it right before we got on your bio. But I was looking at it. Half of this stuff we probably can't even talk about because it's, still classified or data masked or whatever the hell. So go into whatever you can. If you can't go into the last half of your career, fine, no worries. But I see some unclassified stuff that we can dive into. So having said that, again, thanks again for coming on, and let's dive right in. Tell me about getting into the military and all that stuff, and then we'll just go from there.
Cool. Yeah. So getting into the military, I was in eighth grade during 9/11, and then in high school during the invasion of Iraq. And that was, pretty much the forefront of everything going on in the U.S. back then. And I was just like, I have to be a part of this.
Right.
So throughout high school, I knew that I wanted to be in the military, and was originally decided on being a recon Marine. So I was all geared up for that. And my dad, who was also an Air Force vet, he was an age mechanic, was like, hey, like, pump the brakes on the Marine thing. Let me find out some more information on these Air Force guys who do cool stuff. So I said, okay. And he somehow got me like Tim Wilkinson's personal cell phone number.
Wow.
And so he was the PJ on Black Hawk Down. And like,
Right.
I don't know how he ended up getting that. So I called Tim Wilkinson. I can still remember it today. I was out fishing on like a local reservoir, and I just started asking him all the stupid like high school kid questions about the military and PJ and TACP and combat control. And he was very gracious and took the time to answer my stupid questions. And at one point, like I started to go down the road about TACP and combat control, and he was like, "You do know that I'm a PJ, right?" I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Sure.
But
Did you know that about his history? Had seen Black Hawk Down, or had you read about it or anything? So you know about him. Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, watched Black Hawk Down like 10 times, probably
Right.
as a kid. So that kind of solidified the decision to go to the Air Force.
Nice.
Yeah. And started my first unit was the 148th ASOS and the Pennsylvania Air National Guard.
Okay. Yeah, I read that, and I was like, because I read the back half of your bio, and I was like, where'd this guy start? And it was like the Guard. I'm like, how'd you get? So that's an interesting thing to me, because I love hearing about guys who start out in the Guard or were in the Guard that were able to transfer over and do a lot of like active duty type stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, tell me about that. Tell me about the Guard and how that went, and then how you transitioned over to being the 2-3.
Okay, yeah. So the Guard, it was great. First unit. I still love the dudes at the 148th. So I got there. I went to basic in December of 2006, and then it wasn't until like summer of 2007 that I was able to get a slot to go down to the schoolhouse. So in the meantime, they had started training me on like the Jerk 206 pallet, and letting me come out to the drills and stuff. And then I went to tech school, got back, and the focus at the Guard unit was really heavy on just ROMAD skills, like communications, radios, like doing the stuff for the JTAC, helping check his 9 lines and everything.
Right.
Real light on the soldiering side of the house. It was just kind of the culture back then. Like your H-250 is your primary weapon,
Right.
So that was kind of the culture there. We had a great little spot, like on Bowling Range up there in Pennsylvania, like way out right next to the tower, in a trailer. So it was not the fancy building that they have now. So it was pretty cool. And I was the first traditional TACP to become a JTAC at that unit. So the unit had just been stood up. We did a deployment in 2009 to Taji, Iraq with the 56th Stryker Brigade. Had went to JRTC just prior with them. Pretty slow deployment. We did a brigade pool, and we got farmed out to the battalions whenever they determined it was necessary. And it was an okay time, but that was when I had realized that if I want to go ahead and do something, I probably need to go active duty, and that's when I decided to go to selection.
Okay.
Yeah. So going to selection, it was the 148th coughed up man days for me and two other guys to go down to selection, Chris Brooks and Josh Millard, and we go down there. Josh gets picked up, and Chris and I don't. So I totally screw up the selection board, and then they're like, "Nope, you're a no go." So I'm
Oh
like, "Oh,
no.
crap, man!" I'm like devastated. I'm upset, but we decided to come back for the next selection. And then luckily the 148th was super supportive. They coughed up more man days to let us go back and try again. And Chris and I both got picked up that time. He got the 17th, and I got the 23rd STS.
Nice.
Yeah. So this would have been, I've been at the guard unit about 5 years, and then so it was about summer of 2012 that I PCS down to the 2-3.
How was that transition going from traditional guard to like full-time active duty? Like, was that a shock, or was it kind of like you were ready for it? You're like, it's about time. This is what I wanted to do the whole time, or how was that?
It wasn't too bad because I had spent the last probably year or more at the 148th on like temp AGRs and like federal technician spots.
Okay.
So by the time I got down there, it wasn't too much of a shock, but the level of like the amount of training that we were doing was definitely a shock. Like there was a lot of downtime at the 148th in between drills.
Sure.
Not at all the 2-3. We're talking like peak season of the wars and just gone constantly for TDYs for local training. So that tempo was definitely an increase. Took a little getting used to. The wife wasn't super happy, but
I can imagine.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. Yeah, because I noticed you said something about some sort of crisis response international course you went through. Speaking of training, do you want to talk about that a little bit? That seemed interesting.
Yeah, sure. This is a funny one. So this was in my second year at the 2-3, and so we had to line up our yearly like shooting schools. So one guy is like, "Yeah, I found this shooting school. It's ran by this Israeli guy out in Vegas." And so we're like, "All right, half the troop is going to go to Darcy and do that, and the other half will go to this one, and then follow it up with a long range course out in Arizona."
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, cool. So we fly out to Vegas, and we grab the guns off the bird. We had those flown out via Mill Air. And we're driving. We're getting to like a really crappy part of Vegas. I'm like, where are we going right now? And we pull up to this like really nondescript, like really dumpy brick building. It's got no windows, and like the entrance is on this like side alley. Like we can barely get the Suburban in here, and knock on the door, and this like tiny like 4'11" like South African guy opens the door. And he's like, "Come on in, guys." I'm like, all right, okay. So we go in, and there are just desks and a projector screen in front of us. And so the whole team comes in. We get sat down, and there's like no words exchanged. Like we say hi, and he's just like, "Hey, please sit down." Like, all right, a little weird. And then all of a sudden, he just starts playing these like completely like unadulterated like beheading videos, like just hardcore, like just it was terrible just watching dudes just get their heads cut off right after the other, to the point where like one of our guys walks out, but none of the rest of us like don't want to be pussies, so we just stick it out. I'm like literally I'm getting sick to my stomach. It's so disgusting. And this goes on for like 20 or 30 minutes. I'm like, this is like, what are we doing here?
Right.
And then he just, without saying a word, he just shuts the videos off and tells us to meet him into the next room. Like, okay. So we go over there, and we go into this next room. There's a couple guys just kind of standing around. And then on the ground is ropes, buckets of water, and, bags for your head and handcuffs. Like, what? Like, what's happening now? So he's like, okay, guys, if anybody doesn't want to take part, you're welcome to leave. And the same guy, he's the smart one in the bunch. He dips out. He's like, I'm out, guys, later.
Right.
And but the rest of us, like complete idiots, like saddle up to we get hog tied. So our feet are like tied to our neck, and then we're handcuffed. They have this bag thrown over our heads. And then they literally they turn off the lights and they just start to waterboard us, like, and they start playing like all this, the videos are going on in the background, so we hear like all these like beheading noises and screaming, and I'm like kicking my legs and it's like choking me out, and
Jeez.
and then like getting waterboarded, and like whenever you think about waterboarding, you're like, oh, it can't be that bad, you can't breathe, but then they take it away when you're when you can, and like it's absolutely horrible. Like it is for sure torture.
Were you kicking yourself? You didn't get the Darcy slot at that point?
100%. And it was like to the point where I'm like, I don't know what this place is. Like half a silver team is locked in this dungeon in Vegas, and I'm just thinking like, luckily we got one guy on the outside right now. Like, so,
at least break you out if the shit goes bad.
Exactly, man. But yeah, and then they start like shocking us with shock knives, and after like a little while, it just ends, and like they're like, okay, guys, time for the next training event.
Jeez. Did they give any explanation at all through the whole course, or were they just like, that's it, that's your intro, and let's move on to the next? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta ask, who found this course? Like, who in the team? Like, was it your training shop? Was it some guy? How did they even come up with it? How'd they find this guy?
It was a controller named Rob Cortez. He was just a dude on the team, and I don't have no idea how he came across. Probably just like searching crazy videos on the internet or something.
Right.
So yeah, you definitely have to vet your training before you go out and just spend $30,000 on something like this. This is crazy. But
that was the end of it, right? You went out, didn't you go to the range or something? What happened at the range?
Oh yeah, so we got done with this. The next thing we do is we get handed airsoft guns, and we tie balloons to our shoulders, and then we literally practice like 1800 style dueling, like pistol up, like, okay, take 6 paces, turn around, and then we would try to shoot the balloon off the other guy's shoulder. And so we do that for a while. Then he brings out, a bunch of knives, and we practice tactical knife throwing. And so you can imagine how safe it was with like a bunch of freaking TACPs and controllers just chucking knives around a room.
Right.
We do that, and then the next day we go out to the range, and we're like, okay, now we're gonna get into like some good like pistol carbine course. Like, not at all. It was just like literally on a public range in Nevada, just like drive your Tahoe up onto the range and just slam, like skid sideways, just dump some rounds out the window at the targets, like come away like rapper style, like shootings. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what so that's what we practiced all week. That's what we spent our money on.
Did you get anything out of it? Was any of it like worth
I'm
it?
an excellent dueler right now, and I can still do a good drive-by. So
speaking of that, how many people actually aim for the balloon, and how many people were aiming for like faces and chests and bodies and stuff?
Yeah, just like right in the dick snipers,
Yeah.
the duelers. Yeah,
Right.
It got sideways real quick. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. Oh,
that's a funny story from the 2-3.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to? Tell me another one about it. You said you were doing a water jump with a Rams package, and you were static line at the time. You weren't Halo, so then you guys went out for. Tell me about that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this was like the first training event I did at the 2-3. And water jump with a Rams package. So the Rams is the folded up like Zodiac boat. For those that don't know, it comes in a big box, and you kick it out of the plane, and you got to inflate the thing and get it running, in the water. Mm-hmm. So they kick this package out, and then it's time for the static line guys to do their pass. And bear in mind, like, this is the first training event I've done at the 2-3. I haven't been to AST. Like, I'm fresh from the guard. And I don't even have wet silk training, like nothing.
Man.
So, yeah, we do this pass. They kick us out. I'm the last one off the bird. And so we're just at the mercy of the jam spot, like we can't fly to the boat like the
Right.
free fall guys.
Right.
So as we're coming down, I see that this boat is far away. I'm slipping as hard as I can to it. I turn my stupid little MC6 over there, and it's not. I'm not getting any penetration into the wind.
Sure.
And I'm guessing, with my Mark 1 eyeball, it was probably about a K away, as the boat, and I've got the headwind, pushed coming from the boat. So I'm trying to swim. The sea state is, even though it's the bay, is like pretty bad at this point. Like I'm getting swamped. Like stuff's coming in my snorkel. Nobody told me not to put my goggles on before I jumped, so these things are completely fogged up. Like I am just a soup sandwich. Like trying to swim blind. Like it's getting really bad, and it gets to the point where like I am at like complete physical exhaustion, not like mental exhaustion, just like I'm in the ocean right now and like I'm about to die. So
Yeah.
I pull that stupid PFD that goes around your neck. I'm like, okay, like I gotta just take some humble pie, just pull this thing and just look like the TACP who can't swim. And I pull this thing, and it just inflates around my neck and just holds me up like this. And it's worse. Like I can't move. And then waves are just swamping like all over my face into the snorkel. And I'm like, I am going to die right now. Like, so I'm like at the point of contemplating taking out my pocket knife and just popping this thing and just seeing how much further I get before I expire. So at least I die without this PFD around my neck. And luckily, one of the free fall guys had finally gotten the Zode up and came over, and my buddy Ron dragged me in like a dying cat into the boat. And I was like, okay, well, this is special tactics.
Man, we're laughing about it now, but I've been in similar situations, and it's like this could be it. Like this might be the last thing I do, and it's funny now that we're you're not in that situation, but man, that's a freaky thing for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't cool. And luckily, I mean, the things are so much better now. Unfortunately, it took some dudes having some accidents, to get to the point where they learned we really have to do these things appropriately. But at least we're there now,
Yeah. Yeah. And for those who don't know, the 2-3 is in Florida. So you were out there in the. Were you actually in the ocean, or were you in the Sound, or how were you guys at?
We were in the Sound, the Western Sound, DZ.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the swimming, then you got a chance to kind of redeem yourself on this next mission where they put you as a scout swimmer. So go and tell us about that one.
Okay. Yeah. So between these two events, I was like, I have got to get better at this whole swimming thing. So I just take it upon myself, like to go to the pool and like, just get better at it. So, for this event, we were doing an OTB, an over the beach, mission with the team. And, they make me and Will Body, the two TACPs on the team, the scout swimmers, because they think this is going to be funny.
Yeah.
So we do the mission planning, we get those Zodes all loaded up, it's awesome. It's a dark night. We're cruising on Zodes in the Sound, cut the engines and start paddling in. And we get to about a K away from the BLS, the beach landing site. And they kick us two scout swimmers out. And this time though, like the water is like, it's like a pool. It's just amazing. It's pitch black outside. It's quiet. The water's calm. And then like as we jump in, I notice I'm like things are like light around me. And at first I'm kind of freaked out. And then I look and it's like there's like bioluminescent algae bloom that you like see in the movies. I've never experienced it in the Sound since, but this time like we get in and we start swimming and it's like magical. It was one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced, like out in nature. And, so we just have this like super relaxing, nice swim in. If it was a real mission, obviously that would be horrible. Like we would just get immediately, but,
Right.
but we enjoy it then.
Sure.
And so we get in, we get the rally point secured, and Will and I are like, yeah, screw these dudes. We're gonna get changed. So we had packed towels and extra uniforms in our ruck, and just totally dropped security, but got naked right there, dried off, got into fresh uniforms, and then as the rest of the team came in, just like dying wet cats out of the water, we were just there like nice and dry, ready to go. So it was a nice memory.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
could tell, I bet it was so much better than being wet and not only wet, but salt water wet, which is a little bit different. And yeah,
yeah, and
man, and it's
sandy.
probably night and it's chilly and
Yeah, you
yeah,
combine salt water, sand, and a uniform going through the Florida jungle, and that's a bad day.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, do you want to move on to a deployment? Tell me about your OEF deployment in 2014. Tell me about how that went down. So it was one of your best ones.
Yeah, it was a great deployment. So it was following my first deployment at the 2-3. I had done some village stability operations with 7th Group. A lot of IEDs. Not a ton of action. Not a bad deployment, but not great. And so the for the second deployment, I had started to build a reputation on the team as like a good JTAC, like good guy to rely on. So they ended up giving me the best spot for the team, along with Ron. So the way that we did that for the commando operations is you'd send a package of 2 JTACs and a PJ out to the commando unit. So we went out to 2nd Kandak at Fob Lightning in eastern Afghanistan. We were originally supporting SEAL Team 3 and an ODA from 1st Group.
Okay.
So the way that deployment kind of went is, we would, just do some intel, do some munition planning, find targets to hit. In our region, we had, multiple provinces that we would cover down on. And then we would launch, we'd clear all night, and then we'd, get back on the helicopter either right before dawn or we'd remain over day and take the helicopter out, the next night.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like rinse and repeat with that. So the relationship with the SEALs was really good. Like we had the guys that came before us did a really good job of paving the way for us. So it was real smooth with those guys. They even had their own JTACs, but they were like, you guys are welcome to do it for us. So
nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. So yeah, that's how we would roll with them. They were eventually ripped out by 2 ODAs from 3rd Group, 3126 and 3123.
Mm-hmm.
And we got into one pretty good fight with 3126. We were out in Ghazni province, and we had found a village to clear. So we clear this village. We take about 20 pucks. We do a little bit TQ, and they're like, hey, the local Taliban leader is in the village, just to the west of us. I'm like, okay. So we do a quick like frago there and decide that, okay, we're going to roll exfil. We're going to go over here and clear this village, and we're going to clear it during the day. So we start making our way over there, but let me back up for real quick. So these pucks, the plan was to give them to the anti-Taliban militia. That was like the SOP. Like, okay, you'll take these pucks, give them to the anti-Taliban militia, and so the anti-Taliban militia shows up, and they look exactly like the Taliban. Like they're just dudes on motorcycles, and they show up like, okay, we'll transfer them to the to the prison. We're like, okay, great. And so they load these dudes up like cattle or goats or something on their motorcycles, And for those of you who've been out in Afghanistan, what kind of bikes I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so like 50 of these bikes show up, this like biker gang of anti-Taliban militia. They take these hog-tied Taliban guys on their motorcycles, and they drive maybe 200 meters, and then they crest this hilltop until we can't see them anymore. And all of a sudden we hear all the bikes shut down. And we're like, that's weird. They should be continuing on.
Right.
And it's maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and we're like, I think we should go check on these guys. And then as we're going to go start to walk over there and check on them, all of a sudden we just hear like machine gun fire open up. And we're like, I don't want to know anything that's going on over there. So we're like, yep, full stop on that. Don't. That's their business now. I don't know. I don't want to see what that was. But we decided to go over to the next village. So we start walking our way over there, and this is broad daylight now. And the only way over there is this single like alley road that has two like kalat walls on each side, mud walls. And even though it's like a terrible idea, nobody really thinks about it. And we just get in a staggered file and just start going down the road. And sure enough, we walk into a deliberate L ambush. Just nasty. And so the frontal contact kills one guy at least, shoots, I think it killed two, one of the CMRG Afghan guys. Mm-hmm. And then the 18 Echo gets shot in the shoulder, and the team gets split. So they're in front of us by about 75 meters, and we're behind them. And we're taking extremely effective fire from two directions. At this point, my big stack of aircraft that I had at night is gone, and all I've got is this Army run MQ-1. And for the guys that remember controlling these Army MQ-1s, they were like, ran by like a specialist Army kid. Right. Like they were atrocious, And but luckily, it did have two Hellfires on it, and I'm working to try to get his eyes on this target in front of us, and we're just getting hammered. And we're starting to expend. We're getting low on ammo at this point already. It's probably been 10 minutes, and the fire is starting to swing around to the other flank, and now we're taking contact on both flanks and from the front, and we barely have any cover to get through this and up to our the rest of our guys. Yeah. So the team sergeant at one point, he's like, we have to move. I have to get up to the other dudes. He says, who's coming with me? And without any hesitation, Alex Scott, the PJ, just is just like, yep, I'm coming. And, that's obviously my job. And so these dudes, huge respect for them. They instantly decided to put their lives on the line to go get their boys. And at this point, I'm black on the ammo for my Scar, and the Bravo and the Charlie that are with me, they're almost out too. So we have a couple Afghan guys with us who aren't really doing anything. So I take the PKM from one Afghan guy, and then the Bravo takes the RPD or the RPK, I forget which one, from the other Afghan guy. Now we got a little bit more ammo. They're like, okay, so we'll give you some covering fire. So we get out, we start putting down some covering fire for them to get up, and they run 75 meters up this alleyway to go get their boys. And luckily they make it without taking any further casualties. And this was right as I got the Hellfire off of the Predator. So luckily, this puts a little bit of a lull in the fight, and it definitely takes out some of the fighters, but not all of them. Mm-hmm. So it gives them some breathing room, and but we're still taking really effective fire. And at this point in time, I get two F-16s that finally check on, and they're just like the absolute worst F-16s I've ever experienced in my life. They just, they get on, and I'm just like, hey, break. We're in the middle of troops in contact. I start giving them, the lowdown, the ground situation. And then I remember, I get through giving them everything I need to tell them. And they're like, okay, are you ready for fighter to FAC? Dude. I'm like, dude, screw your fighter to FAC. I don't need to hear about your GBU-38s and your GBU-12s. Reports nuclear, we're going to skip the fighter to FAC. And this is just how this quick relationship goes with these guys. So they are obviously pissed about this. They don't like this. I start trying to get their eyes on to the target, and they're just pushing back. They're like, well, we see people, we can't really tell who they are. And I'm like, those are the enemy. Like, they're 150 meters in front of us. Like, that's the
Right.
bad guy. Like, put the
Yeah.
bomb there. And so, I mean, I passed them the 9 line, and they're just pushing back hard. They're like, "How do you know?" I'm like, "Hey, man, like, I'm black on ammo." Like, and they're like, and I remember them saying, they're like, "What does that mean?" And I'm like,
Jeez.
are you freaking kidding me? Like, "Hey, man, I'm Winchester. I'm
I was going to
Winchester."
say, yeah, it's just like Winchester. They got that.
And like, you think that this would create some sense of urgency. It doesn't. So they're still like, I can tell that they don't want to drop because they're going to have to blow up, somebody's house, and there's probably going to be some civcas. Who knows? Like, they would just have rather watch us like just figure it out versus them put their careers on the line or anything.
And didn't you
So
say at the time, like that was when it was really stringent? ROE was real stringent. We weren't looking to do any collateral damage at all. So it had to be like a perfect situation to drop. Yeah, that must have been frustrating for you.
exactly. I'll never forget that the reporting time for a civcas was 2 hours, but the reporting time for U.S. casualty was 24 hours. So
Jeez.
that really sets the tone on how the administration had viewed civcas back then.
Really?
So it's that environment. So I'll at least give them that, man. And
But still, it's a tick, and
yeah,
you're 100. You're in. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
it is pretty frustrating. So as I'm thinking through this and trying to fight our way forward, we have the medevac bird come in. So those dudes had some brass balls, and they flew their bird in through machine gun fire, RPG fire, picked up our dudes, got them out of there. And at this point, like, our position is untenable, so we have to move. And so we decide to run up, and we don't have anybody really to cover us to get up to our boys ahead of us. They have a little bit more cover. So we do that. We make it up there. Luckily, we don't take any casualties. And now I'm still controlling these guys, and I say, okay, like, I've got to find another way. So I just change it over to bomb on coordinate, to remove any of their liability.
Sure.
And I do not have anywhere near good enough grids. Like, I had the Pred give me some grids, and we didn't have ATAC back then, but I had a pass, and I plotted them, and I'm like, okay, looks good enough, man. So just send that GBU-38 danger close off my shitty grids, and luckily that does the trick. Whether that took them out, or they didn't want to fight anymore, or they were also black on ammo, like, the fighting pretty much stops at this point.
Yeah.
And we're able to get a resupply from the rest of the team, and continue on. But yeah, to wrap this one up, like, the craziest thing about this was whenever we went and I found the strike site at the Hellfire strike site, I had never seen overpressure do anything quite like this before. Like, it can do some weird stuff, but it wasn't a November Hellfire. It was just I forget, but it was just the standard Hellfire that came on a Pred.
Mm-hmm.
But the overpressure had, like, blown these dudes' clothes off, and they're like laying there naked. And so I'm like, I walk into this room and I see these dead fighters that are naked, and they don't have a ton of injuries on them. And then, other than their heads, the tops of their heads had just, like, popped off, and, like, they had these, like, little skull caps with, like, this little, like, their hair was still attached to it. It looked like these little furry creatures, like, around, and there's these naked dudes with the tops of their heads off. And I was like, it was just
Weird.
yeah, it was really freaking weird. But still haven't talked about it with patches and stuff before. No one has seemed to experience anything like that in the past. So just a really weird thing. Weird things you see in war. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was probably the worst battle we had in that one.
What was is it Tangi Valley shot? And where
yeah.
you remember that one? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the same valley that Extortion 7-1 had gotten shot down almost exactly 3 years prior.
Okay.
So for those that don't know, that was the 47 filled with DevGru operators and guys from the 2-4. Really bad valley. It got shot down in there. I believe they all died. So there's still a lot of bad guys left there. And we put up a target package to go back in there and get it approved. And we obviously take a different flight route in. So we have a little bit more valley to clear at this point than previous. And we get on the ground, we start clearing all night, and it's like house to house, like type fighting, just, pop shots here, shooting around corners, moving from house to house. It's the valley's really dense. So I'm the main effort JTAC, and my buddy Ron is the C2 JTAC. So he's back with the 18 Alpha. I'm forward with the 18 Zulu. He's not really dropping very much because he can't really see what's going on. It's real tight. Mm-hmm. So we clear all night. We eventually find a house that we need a strong point before daybreak. And so we break into this thing, we clear the house, and the Zulu and I set ourselves up our little like sniper nest up in the second story of this house. And everything goes quiet for a while. And I should say that as we were clearing, the Terp was getting a lot of chatter on the radios that these guys could see everywhere that we were at. So we're like, holy crap, do these dudes have like nods? So we're in our hide site, and like it's just as it gets light outside, I can see that this house is like really nice. Like there's like electrical outlets in the walls, like there's all these plush pillows. Like it's for an Afghan house, like it's like pretty rich.
Yeah.
And so we set these pillows up, like, and I just remember just being so comfortable, like the most comfortable I've ever been. And all of a sudden, the sun starts to crest over the mountains, and I see this valley, and it's like the most verdant, like beautiful valley I've ever seen in my life. Like it's just gorgeous. And I'm just at that point of like exhaustions, and like just sitting there, I'm like, man, there is no better place in the world than like right here, right now. And so TJ,
real quick, I don't want to get you off track, but Ethan Brown and I talk. He's on here quite a bit, and we often talk about that, how beautiful that place is. I mean, it's just, Afghanistan is like one of the most beautiful places in the world, and unfortunately, it's full of, I don't want to talk disparagingly about them, but it's not a very nice place to be, unfortunately. Anyway, yeah. To your point,
you're absolutely right, man. Gorgeous. Like if that country was a little better, it'd be like a outdoorsman's dream.
Right.
So, yeah. So yeah, we're sitting there. TJ, the Zulu, I tell him like, you can go ahead and take the first break. So he racks out, and then I can't believe I'm not falling asleep, but like I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna see somebody. Like I know it, and I feel like I'm like a kid like deer hunting again, in my stand. Sure. And sure enough, like all of a sudden, this dude just pops out of the really tall grass ahead of me, maybe about 300 meters, and he's got a radio and an AK. Just broadside. And I'm like, all right, here we go. I wake TJ up, and he's like laser focused like this, just like instant. And so we set up a little coordinated shot and just smoked this dude. And then it was just a really weird feeling, because I was just like had this, like extreme comfort, like beautiful setting, like all that. And then we just killed a guy. I'm like, this is not normal, like this is not normal life. And then so, we had this kind of like juxtaposition of like death, like this dude's corpse, like sitting out in front of us, versus like this beautiful valley. And we just kind of sat there all day. I just remember it was just a weird experience. Yeah. And we did go out and recover the stuff off of him. He did have PVS 14s on him, which was pretty wild, like American nods. Like, how did he get that?
Jeez.
But and then later on, like right before evening, I guess one of his buddies had the same idea to come get those nods or something. So he like low crawls up, and we see like this little head pop up and rustling around in this guy's body. And I'm like, oh, you're an idiot, dude. And so we just rinse and repeat and just smoke this guy right in the face. And and then shortly after, it's nighttime, and the birds come, and we head back home. But
isn't that weird how there's only two of those guys? Like, where was everybody else? Or were they just out there on their own? Like, it's just so many, and you probably experience this a lot. You just don't get any answers, when you're over there. It's like things happen, and it's like, why did that happen, and why were they doing that? It's just there's no rhyme or reason to a lot of stuff they do. It's just
No, yeah,
seat of the pants kind of shit.
yeah, they think about things in a totally different way than we do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, weird, man.
So you guys expelled back out of there and back to base, or where were you guys based out of then?
So we were still at Lightning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what about the CDO operation with a SEAL Team 3 platoon? You had a TST. There's a hostage rescue.
Oh yeah, yeah. This one was just a shit show. It was funny. So I'm sure we got the task force leavings because we're not trained in HR. That's their job. But this ANA major gets pinched, and they're like, "Hey, you guys are the closest guys. Can you launch on it?" We're like, "Absolutely." So
right.
we plan for a couple hours, and we plan on launching like as soon as it's dark. And I'm going to be the C2 JTAC this time. So we're going to go land on a hilltop just outside the compound where supposedly this guy's captured. And the main effort is going to go right to the X and go try to get him. So we launch, and we're getting over there. In this hilltop, there's nowhere to land, and so we had planned on doing a pinnacle landing, which is where the CH-47 just hovering off the back there and drops the ramp, and just you jump off the ramp onto the the hilltop, and I'm all the way in the front of the bird, so I've got 30 plus guys. I got to wait for to get off of this thing, and I don't know if he had have moved a little bit away, or the lack of weight on those dudes let the helicopter lift up a little bit more. But by the time,
I'm laughing because I know what's happening. What comes next? Please go ahead.
Yeah, it's probably 8 feet from the ramp to this hilltop, and it's pitch black. I'm under nods, and I jump off, and I don't expect the ground, or I don't feel the ground when I expect it. So I'm like, oh man, I'm going into PLF mode. This is gonna hurt. Something's gonna break. Yeah. And something did break, and it was the Afghans. I just landed on a pile of Afghans, a plush pillow. It was. I just remember hearing them, and the wind knocked out of them as I just landed with all my crap on top of them. It was kind of funny, but so we hit the house. It's a dry hole, unfortunately, but the PJ during this op had the good sense to bring his bagpipes. So we the SEALs did a re-enlistment out there for one of their guys with Alex playing the bagpipes, and we had a show of force from an A-10 come through.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty funny. Also, the dog on that team was just straight vicious, and during this mission, the platoon commander had gone to go take a leak and gotten a little too close to this dog, and it got off of wherever it was and just latched onto his arm and just tore his arm down to the fat and meat. It was. I was like, this is just this mission is this is screwed.
Let's get out of here. Let's reset.
Yeah, exactly. Just they don't all go all sexy and clean, Some of them are pretty crappy.
It's just funny that you guys had the time to do a little re-enlistment ceremony with music and the whole nine yards.
Yeah. We got some TANOPs in. When we were remaining. There was just. We were in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing around us. It was just man, just stave off the boredom for 12 hours until it's dark again.
That was the worst part about not getting out under a cover of darkness. It's you had to just hang out and kind of pull security, but like you said, depending on where you are, it's not that big a deal because you can see people coming from a mile away. Having to waste that 12 hours and for nothing. Yeah, that was the worst.
But the SEALs love to tan, so we got.
For sure. I was surprised they didn't bring any weights with them so they could work out there or something.
They did work out with sandbags. So we always brought sandbags and filled those things up and fortified our position. And then we would definitely have some sandbag workouts on some rooftops. But yeah.
Okay, so this is before we get into this green team hey ho. So what prompted your decision to? Because there's not a whole lot of guys that have done what you've done. Like you got Brett Barbie and you got Kirk Newman, and there's just a handful of guys that have made that transition over to the however you want to call it. Like it's the behind the fence. What are you going to say? I don't want to say too many. I don't know what we can say now, so I'm not going to say anything. But you went from what we used to call white soft to kind of the darker side. What made that decision for you? Like what prompted you to do that? And then we'll get into kind of all that those stories.
Yes, I mean, I had just come off this really good deployment, and I was just motivated. Like, all right, but best job I ever had. So let's go to the next level. And
Yeah.
so a lot of my friends were over at the 17th at the time, and those dudes were crushing it as well. Doing doing all their different types of rotations that they did. So I was like, let me go try that side. And so I remember talking to some of the leadership from the 17th. I think I had done a trip out to Idaho with Mike Macias, and he had me sold to come out there. And I was like, sweet, let me come over. And they're like, yeah, man, just come back through selection and it'll all, and then dude, you'll have no problem. You'll get picked up. And I'm like, wait, why do I need to go back through selection?
You're right. You're right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. They were like, well, it's just a formality. And I'm like, man, the selection that I already went to, I could have went to the 17th. Like,
Right.
literally the dude, like my best friend, Chris Brooks, was at my same selection, and now he's at the 17th.
Right.
And so they're like, no, you got to come back through. And I was like, well, if I'm going to go to selection, I'm going to go try to do the 2-4 selection. So this was early 2015, and I'm training to go to selection. And at this point in time, like, we got good support for training and everything. Not like the first selection I went. There was, no guidance on like how to prepare or anything like that. Like, we just kind of wung it, if you will, and
Right.
made it happen. But now we had like a good like training plan, and I just did exactly what they said on the training plan. Prepare. I wasn't definitely prepared, physically for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I show up to selection, I do pretty well, and then I completely screw up the board again. So, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I already have this stress from my last like experience with the board, and I go into this board, and I'm not saying sir to the commander, not because I'm like a disrespectful dude. I'm just a soup sandwich. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's stressful. It's you forget about things, and exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm haven't slept in days. I'm in this board. Like, I'm not saying sir, and Chief George is just eating my lunch, just like in the board, like knife handing me, which is just making it like just worse.
Right.
And so they're like, okay, you walked in a green light, you walked out a red light. And I was like, oh man, like crap. But they're like, hey, you know what? Like, come on over, go to the fire shop, and then come back to selection. So I said, sure. So I went, ended up doing that, which was a great experience. Learned a ton about weaponeering. It really took my JTAC game to the next level, being at the fire shop there. Then went back through selection and got picked up. So at this point, I've done four selections. So I'm about selectioned out,
You've done enough.
Yeah.
Who was at the fire shop when you were up there?
So that was Mike Huffman was running the fire shop there.
Okay.
And then we had, who else did we have up there? Oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank right now. But Niles Larson, yeah. There's a news up there, yeah.
So then you got through selection, and then you go to green team, and you don't have to go into that as much as you want to, but you did mention one thing about a green team hey-ho mission. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah.
It was like your FMC, or it was like your full mission profile or something, or your culmination exercise, or go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't want to step on it.
No, you're fine. It was the final like FMP for the jump trip. So on green team, you do a big jump trip. And you really like take your free fall skills to the next level. And like as a TACP, I had gotten free fall later on in my career, so I didn't have a lot of experience jumping. And I went to Navy free fall, so it was like stamp you with your 23 jumps and you're out the door. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, now, now I'm trying to do a tier 1 level like jump mission or jump trip. And it's, it's a lot. Like it's a steep learning curve. And we get to the final mission. It's a hey-ho, full night wall locker. I forget the altitude is pretty high, maybe around 20,000 feet.
Mm.
But, I forget if I was either the last guy or like second to last guy off the bird, but you're supposed to keep this exit tight, so you can maintain, your stack and land as a unit. And, the exit is not tight, but from anybody. So by the time it gets to me, like those dudes are gone. Like I jump out and I'm just in the pitch blackness and I don't see anybody. And I just look down. I'm like, well, thank God I got this nav board. I guess it's all on me now. So I just point myself in the right direction. I'm like just flying just alone in Arizona for I don't know how many K. And at one point I look over and luckily there was one other guy who had gotten pretty far behind. And then so we see each other and link up and we fly together. And then just like magic, like right as the stack is starting to enter the pattern to land, like we see them and we just go VFR direct, like straight to them and just like end up right in the back of the stack as they're entering the pattern, which couldn't have worked out any better.
You're like, no problem. Yeah, headed the whole time. No big deal. Whatever.
Yeah, you guys didn't know I was here. I was right here. Yeah. Yeah, it was just.
Did you guys have comms at all, or could you talk to the team, or was it? Did you guys have radios?
Yeah, we did, and so like I could hear them. I could hear all their traffic. And
okay, good.
Yeah. But
that had to make you feel a little bit better that you weren't like just hell and gone from everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome. It's a little different whenever you're flying a hey-ho stack like at night. It's cool because you have all the guys there, and that provides this like safety blanket. Like all my boys are here. Like no matter what, Like even if we were landing in the wrong spot, like you've got your dudes here. When you're just flying alone, it's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can't rely on the low man. Usually you're like the team leaders. Like I'll just follow this guy in. But now you got to actually use your board and make sure you're doing the right thing. You can't just
make sure I hit my altitude gates appropriately. Like
right.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Oh. So what's this Brian Meloff HME course?
Okay, so fast forward through some of our from my time at the 2-4. I was on one of the unilateral teams there. I had gotten over to the data mass unit, and there was a requirement to know how to do like HME type stuff downrange to for what we were doing. So we find this course. It's a little bit better than the Vegas course, but it's this guy comes to teach us all about HME, and he's keeping his hands in his pockets. And I'm like, but as he brings his hands out every now and then to gesticulate a little bit, I'm like catching something. And then like he finally brings it up, and I see he's missing like half of his hand. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh no. what have we done? But he really knew what he was talking about. We eventually went out and met him in New Mexico, and his little like explosives lab was like straight out of like some like Breaking Bad like meth lab scene. It was literally just like Connex boxes in the middle of the desert with like some concertina wire around them. And he opens these things up, and it's just filled with like white powders and things like in here. And I'm like, man, like if people knew what was out here, what this guy was doing, it was wild. But yeah, he taught us how to gather up all the different products, like how to make HME. Really interesting and neat course. We ended up making some like bespoke different types of explosive charges and stuff for operational purposes that were super sketchy. And I was like, why do they have these guys with high school degrees, like making this stuff. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we doing this? Why
Right.
don't we have smart people making these for us?
Or maybe we're just picking the wrong courses. I don't know. Maybe whoever's setting these up is, I don't know, not doing their homework.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
yeah, like just something that like you'd never expect to do whenever you first sign up in the military. Like, okay, now I'm mixing these powders together and like making like bombs and stuff. It was wild.
That was the thing. Like we kind of touched on some of that stuff at the 17th, but like that was what I always kind of envied about the 24th and like the 724th eventually, and like because in that world, the sky's the limit. I mean, there really is no. I mean, I guess you guys have SOPs, but those SOPs can be changed at any time. Like, well, we don't usually do it this way, but we have to do it this way in this particular circumstance, so we're going to do it this. It was just, I always found it really cool to like to your point, like, yeah, you never thought you'd be mixing up, different powders to, expeditiously make a explosive or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Always had a lot of respect for you guys up there. I mean, that was pretty cool to do that kind of stuff.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you put it really well. Like there was really like quite a bit of flexibility up there. I guess like just like an open mindedness
Sure.
about solving operational problems. So
Right.
that was kind of a cool environment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of why it's such a stringent a selection process, not just yours, but even the guys you're supporting, the Army and the Navy guys. I
Yeah,
mean, that's, very, especially the Army guys, they have to be able to trust those guys to do that kind of crazy stuff and not be crazy about it. You know what I mean? You get some knucklehead that's like, like a cowboy, he's not going to do the right thing, but you get a
yeah,
professional in there, you can trust him to do kind of some off the wall things without, doing without it going bad, I guess. Anyway, yeah.
yeah,
No, I
man.
thought,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's definitely something that I didn't appreciate enough when I was in, and I appreciate now is just the level of humans, that you have working with you, white soft, black soft, whatever. Like, just the quality of people, operators, and support is just unparalleled.
it really is.
Now in the civilian world, I'm like, oh man, like you guys have no idea.
Right.
Yeah,
It's tough. It really is.
yeah,
Tough to switch off.
yeah.
All right, let's go to the Banya experience.
Oh yeah, okay. Um, Definitely one of the most interesting cultural experiences that I've had. I've been in Afghanistan drinking the chai, eating the nasty goat that's cut up in the dirt, and
Sure.
the KLEs in Iraq and things like that. But this one takes the cake. So we're out with our partners on an operation, and we get to a our bed down location, and I had told these guys previously, and I was like, hey, I want to try this banya. You guys are all about this banya experience, and so for those that don't know, a banya is like a sauna. So it's like you got the sauna, the cold plunge, but it's more than just this. It's like a whole night. It's like an experience, and so everywhere these guys go, they want to build a banya. I'm like, okay, well, I want to try a banya. And they're like, all right, cool. So we go to this bed down location. It's like this like lovers retreat. I'm like, man, this is great. This is awesome. I'm not sleeping in the dirt. I'm not like being serenaded by these guys. This is awesome. And so we do this. They get the banya set up, and they're like, okay, the banya is ready. And then we go in, and it's just naked dudes, and you just throw a sheet around or don't, up
Right.
to you. And you just, there's like a roaring fire going. It's cold outside. You drink beer, you eat this like weird dried fish, and you just kind of BS. And then like in the middle of this BSing, you go hit the sauna together. And so us naked dudes like toddle over. We have our hats on. So we have these sauna hats. They're like these felt like, but other than that, we're just naked. So we go over there, and then like, and it is not like your normal type of sauna. It is extremely hot.
Yeah.
And and they take birch branches, like they soak them in water, and they like make it super humid, and they beat you with these birch branches, and it like kind of like exfoliates your back and your skin, and there's like the kind of the whatever resins and stuff in the birch. It gets in there. It's not exactly comfortable, and so I'm just like laying there naked as this like naked dude is just beating my ass with this birch branch, and I'm just like, where, like, what is what, how does this happen,
Yeah, well, you guys do this all the time, you're telling me? What?
And it was just another one of those times where I was like, man, like these things that we do, like
Yeah.
never would I expect to be here, getting my bare butt cheeks beat by a birch branch by a 6'4" hulking naked man in a sauna. So it was,
As long as that's all they did, they didn't. We'll leave the other part out. Not to talk about that.
Yeah. But it was actually, man, it was really cool. And then you like,
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you, like, at the end of it, was it like, did you feel refreshed, or did it do the trick, or?
I've been like a sauna fan ever since that.
Yeah.
Been searching, can't find the same experience. Don't think I ever will. But it was actually really cool, man.
Right on.
But funny.
What about your Idaho long range shooting story? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You had a stow that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that one or no?
Yeah.
I thought this is one of those that's I've never heard of. It's kind of funny, I thought.
Yeah. Man, so this this long range course, it's out in Sun Valley, Idaho, and Sun Valley is an awesome place, and there are some like great patriots that live out there, like really wealthy people that just love the U.S. And so they had donated their houses for us to stay in. And so like one of the group is with like, it was like either an owner of a coach of like some NBA basketball team. And they're like in this like palace out there. Like our guys are in like this other, like just extremely nice mansion.
Yeah.
And these things are awesome. And so we're getting ready to go out there. Our stow that's with us, this is on Green Team. He misses his flight because he decides like 5 minutes before the gate closes to go get a chicken biscuit from like Chick-fil-A or something at the airport.
Yeah.
And literally misses his flight, so earns him the nickname Biscuit Boy for quite a while. But so we get into Sun Valley. It's late, and he's on the next flight, and he's coming in at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And as he's driving in, he smashes an elk on the highway, going like 60 miles an hour, and it just like it completely totals the car. It totals the elk too, for sure. And there's just like elk bits all over the road. And so I remember I got a call, like, "Hey man, I just hit an elk. Like, I'm okay." He's like, "But I need a ride, and I need to pick up the elk." Like, all right, man. So we load up the Suburbans and drive out to them, and sure enough, there is just like a completely destroyed elk out there. And we just at 2-3 in the morning with our pocket knives start hacking this thing up and just throwing it into the back of this Tahoe. We don't have anything to put it in or whatever, so there's just a whole dismembered elk in the back of this rental car. Some of the things that we do to rental cars in the military. Just not okay.
No.
And we drive back to this to the mansion, and there's nowhere to put all this elk, and there's snow outside. So we unload it. We just jam all the legs and like pieces of meat and like everything just in different parts of the snow. And we're like, all right, we'll wake up early and get this get this thing taken care of. And we wake up in the morning before training, and we look outside, and like this poor guy's front lawn, it just looks like a horror movie. There's just like bits of bloody elk, like just stuck in the snow everywhere. And like there's like not a single sharp knife in the house. So we're like trying to clean this thing like inside this mansion. It was, I'm still ashamed of our poor decision making.
And you guys never ate it, right? It was, you never even
No, yeah. we didn't. So we didn't have like anything really to cook it with, or we were too busy anyway. So we threw it in a
Mhm.
Yeti cooler, and then the week of training goes by. He's still like holding on to this elk, and like I'm like, dude, just pitch it, And he's like, no, like I'm gonna eat this thing. So he throws it in the ISU with all the weapons, and the ISU gets like stuck somewhere on the way back. So like
Oh
for a
my
week or
God.
more, and we're just like, oh my god, this is going to be horrible. And by the time the ISU came back, it was it was absolutely disgusting. Just I'll never forget like pulling the Yeti cooler of like rotting elk meat out of this
Oh,
thing,
jeez.
having to dispose of it on brag.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Not
Oh,
not the only thing we've taken back in an ISU. On one jump trip, a guy bought a chopper, so we took apart a chopper and put it in an ISU and sent
oh,
it back.
really?
But yeah, man,
Oh,
funny times.
it's funny how you mentioned that. Like, that's not the only thing I've heard put in ISUs. Like it's bicycles and golf clubs and just all kinds of crap you just
Rotting
shove in
elk.
there.
Yeah,
Rotting elk, right? Now, I've never heard that one before. That's the first.
yeah, man.
That's great.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. Let me hear about this. The hard duck spatial D.
Yeah. So this I've never experienced spatial disorientation before.
Hmm.
And like when you hear about it with pilots and stuff, you're like, how does this happen? And it is terrifying. So the Marines that had crashed in the Sound, like in Florida, in like 2014, 15, sometime, like that pilot was assessed to probably have like spatial D, and I can I feel for him now. So we're doing underways up, up with our buddies in Virginia Beach.
Hmm.
We're the CSAR package for them, and we're getting some training in while we're there. And we decided to do a couple hard ducks, like off the back of the 47s out in the ocean out there. And so I had never done one before, and I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous or anything, but it's you're in the back. I'm the boatman, so I'm the one like right behind the boat as the boat's going out.
Hmm.
The bird. We dump the boat out. I jump in after it. I get in the boat, and then I get this thing fired up. Everybody gets back in, and I need to go back over to where the helicopter has landed on close to the beach, and I just remember like as I'm driving this boat in the dark, in the waves in the water, like it all. I don't know what I was looking at. Like I can't really even explain it. Like it was just like your brain isn't processing any of the things that you're seeing at the time. I
Hmm.
have no idea like why it happened. It was kind of overcast, so the sky kind of looked like the ocean, and then you've got like and I'm looking under nods, and it's weird. Like so, and I just ended up taking this boat like they're like, where are you going? They're like, right. And I'm like, then I like go the wrong direction. And they're like, dude, like, what is wrong with you? And I ended up like accidentally like beaching it on some sandbar. And we had to like, it took us like hours to get this freaking heavy ass boat like unstuck and back over to
Man.
the birds. But I was like, hey guys, like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what I was looking at, and it was,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like spatial D is no joke. So
no doubt.
yeah, can't imagine like the
Man.
pilots flying over like the Great Salt Lake or those weird kind of places.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
at least you're on the ground. They're up
yeah,
in the air and they lose the SA or whatever, and man, that could be. I mean, obviously
yeah,
it is bad. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Damn.
yeah. But luckily, it
Uh,
was just
okay.
training. So
All right. Yeah.
yeah,
You just look like. Well, that can be. That's
yeah,
equally as bad because then the guys are like, "What the hell's wrong with this guy?" And you're like, "No,
yeah,
no, it's just this one time. I swear."
yeah. I
It's like,
swear this
no.
doesn't happen to me, guys. All right.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. What about the CTR lockpicking course in Kentucky?
Oh yeah. I mean, this was on. So we're learning how to do close target reconnaissance. We're learning how locks work, how to get into places, how to do a proper CTR, lock recce, all this stuff. So for one of the full mission profiles there, I was doing physical surveillance, for the entry team. So I'm sitting there looking out at the objective location, and I'm sitting in a Taco Bell parking lot, and it's real late. It's maybe midnight, 1 a.m. This Taco Bell is open all night, and I see this like dumpy car just kind of like serpentine and driving its way to the drive-through, and it just kind of parks there, and I'm keeping an eye on this dude. I'm like, this is weird. Is this part of the scenario? Like what's going on? And then I look back at this guy, and he like falls forward on the steering wheel, and then he just kind of like slumps over like to the right, and I'm like what the heck? What's going on? So I'm like, whatever. I go back to watching the objective, and then he's been there for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, I think I need to go check on this dude. And like I walk out, and the girl from was working at the Taco Bell walks out too, and I look at this dude. I'm like, this dude is dead. Like, and so she goes and calls the EMS and 911, and they send everybody out there. And like, sure enough, the dude just like pulled up to the Taco Bell drive-through and just freaking expired, like right there.
Was it a heart attack, or I mean, was the guy? What happened? I mean, what was the deal? Do you know? Did you ever find out?
I think he was probably like on drug, like probably OD'd or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was just weird, like, because 3 different things like that had happened on SATC. So like this had already been, I had been doing some like surveillance detection training in DC, and someone had ran out of a building. It was just like, help, help. And I'm like, okay, like there's a whole bunch of people walking by, and the whole bystander mentality is totally true. It's like just a terrible thing about humanity. It makes you disgusted with humanity. But they're just like, I can't see you, and and I'm like, well, screw it, man. Like, we're in the middle of this mission, like, but whatever. So like, we go over and runish into this bank, and this dude had like a heart attack, and it was like, so we were sitting there doing CPR on him until like emergency services came and handed him off to them. And then 2 weeks later, this guy like dies behind me in the Taco Bell parking lot. And then a week after that, like some guy just like passed out in a grocery store on another like training iteration that we were doing. It was just, I was like, man, like I've got like some bad juju around me or something right now.
And we're positive this wasn't part of all the scenarios. We're 100%.
I don't know. Those
like
those
throwing a monkey wrench in there.
Training out there, so it might have been.
Let's see what Murph does on this one. All right, this guy, Sloan over here. Jeez, man.
Yeah, that's why, man, you always got to be prepared. Like when you start doing weird stuff, you see weird stuff out in the wild, like.
Yeah, because you're out there in like in that one time there was a lot of other people, but sometimes you're out in a situation where a lot of people aren't there usually, like you're saying, like in the middle of the night. Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just weird.
The last thing that I see on here, rattlesnake prank. Do you want to talk about that? Okay.
Yeah. So I was a team leader over at the Data Mass unit, and we were out in Texas, which is like a piece of private property that's bigger than the state of Rhode Island.
Nice.
It's wild, dude. Cool place to train. And we were just like messing with each other. So there's all sorts of critters out there in the middle of nowhere, Texas, like spiders like this big, just like gigantic centipedes. And we had one radio guy on the team who was like deathly afraid of all this stuff. And him and I are good friends, but I was just messing with him. So like at every time I'd find one of these like bugs or these critters, I'd like go stick it in his stuff or whatever. And it was just like a running joke. And the thing that the straw that broke the camel's back is I have found this big spider. It was like this big, and I got it on a broom, and I flicked it like across a hanger at it, and like just by pure luck, this thing like smacks him right in the head, and he just freaks out, and he was like man, it felt like getting hit by like a hacky sack or something. It was so big.
Gross.
And so we laugh about it. He's like, okay, but I can tell he's like, I'm gonna get you. And
The wheels were turning. Yeah.
oh yeah. So I have to go do some admin crap up in Austin, Texas. So I drive away for a couple days, and then as I come back, the team had definitely got me. So they had went out and they had found a rattlesnake. They killed this rattlesnake, and this is a massive, massive rattlesnake. And they had broke into my chew, because we all know how to break into things. And they had wrapped this snake up in my bed, like, and had it like so. I get into I go up, I get into my room, getting changed or whatever. I throw over the covers, and all of a sudden there's a rattlesnake in my bed.
Oh.
I'm just like, just jump out of my skin and run out of the chew, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, like, the thing wasn't like, it takes me a few minutes to process, but I'm like, I didn't see it move. Let me go see it's still in there. And so I go back in, and the cover's still open. I see that it's still in the same spot, and I'm like, those bastards! Like, the shenanigans that we do. Like, I don't think normal people would believe.
No,
so, but
well, that's the thing. It's like once you start, it just escalates. Like you threw that spider. All right, we're gonna put a snake. It never. That's why you got to be careful. I mean, you can mess around, but man, you better be ready for some crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. Funny.
Oh man. Well,
yeah.
This has been great, man. Let's talk about before we wrap up. Let's talk about you have a current company going on. Tell me about the Cossack Consulting Services. What do you guys do in that for that?
Yeah. So what I primarily do is teach operator signature reduction and mitigation. So it's skills that I learned while I was at the data mask unit that I think are applicable definitely to soft operators. It teaches them how to reduce, their digital, electronic, financial, travel, all these different vectors. UTS vectors. I teach them how to reduce that. I also do like tactical training, like here in Europe, but that's kind of like the bread and butter of the course, both like basic and advanced. And so we've got I got a pretty good base here in Europe that have liked the training that I go and teach. But yeah, just always looking for the opportunity to make dudes better at that, because it's a skill set that nobody really thinks about, and if they do, they a lot of times they discard it because they just don't think it's like irrelevant, but it really is,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not relevant until you need it, and then you're like, man, I wish I would have trained a little harder on that.
Exactly. And the world's changing. The wars are changing. We're not fighting, the Taliban or Al Qaeda anymore. Our adversaries are cunning, and they have the technical capability behind them. And so you can't really just operate in this like, whatever, man, I'm just going to, do whatever I want with my phone and the internet while I'm TDY or deployed or whatever. Like, you really know how to protect yourself. I go through some pretty powerful vignettes in the course that from real world stuff that's happened to guys after they've come back from deployments overseas. And it kind of like wakes people up to to the relevance of it.
You don't realize how vulnerable you are. I mean, we think, as much security you put on something, it doesn't matter at all if you know how to break it. I mean, everything is breakable. It seems like when you say, I mean, it's not, there's nothing out there that's totally. What I'm saying is, if you have nothing, you might as well just give the guy the information. At least put some sort of countermeasures in there or something.
100%. You got to make yourself a harder target, and like we train all the time to make ourselves a harder target in war. Like, why are you not trying to make yourself and your family a harder target? When you go out into the world, because the world's a dangerous place.
Yeah, they'll see some encryption on yours. They're like, it's just kind of like the guy that would go for the old lady as opposed to, guys like us on the street.
Exactly, man. Yeah. What house are you going to break into? The one with all the cameras and the big barking dog, or the one with the door unlocked and no lights on,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, how can people, if they want to get this training, how can they get a hold of you?
So I've got a website. It's CossackConsulting.com. And then there's a password on it. I don't know if you could put it in maybe like the comments or something of the this video.
Sure.
And then I've got my contact information. I guess we could put on the same place too. You can reach me on Signal for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I know a lot of guys that I know would be interested in that kind of thing. I mean, we all think we're doing the right thing, but man, until we get a guy like you that's well versed in it, we don't know what we don't know. So yeah, at least a consultation or something, just a once over would be even better than nothing. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm always happy to do that. Just for if dudes need help, man, just feel free to give me a call. Like, it doesn't need to be a course or anything. I can just talk with you on the phone. Because I care about the stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, this was great. I don't want to keep you any longer. I know you got your day to start up there, but I can't thank you enough for doing this. This was really interesting and funny, and it was really cool, man. And it's good meeting you. I don't think our paths have ever crossed before. Maybe they have, and I just don't remember. But I did not realize that you were another one of those Newman Barbie type guys, which I have a lot of respect for, because that's a tough
way
nut to
better
crack.
dudes than me, for sure.
I mean, you guys are all good in my book. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
that's a tough nut up there. So it's to get into that area, to get in there and actually be an operator. That's a really commendable thing to do. So that's awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, good meeting you too. I'd always had heard your name through a well-known name in the career field, but so it's cool to finally meet you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Cool. Thanks a lot, JD.